We are going to start out here. We're going to do a breakdown of Tim Tebow's other play that many people are just now seeing. I just saw this for the first time today. And in this, this to me looks like a short yardage situation, but I've broken this play down. I've broken it down significantly. So first and foremost, I'd like to send a shout out to Tactic Pro. Tactic Pro provides a graphic system that allows you to edit sports videos and add illustration to them. Now, these guys definitely looked out for me. They hooked me up with a license for their software. They are over in London. And no, these guys did not pay me to say any of this. I just wanted to make sure that I got that out there so guys know what it is I'm using. I think they got some really amazing software. I used a couple of different ones last season, and I settled on theirs, reached out to them, spoke with them, and they were more than happy to let me use their software in doing my football breakdown. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead. Let's get started into this. Now, again, this is short yardage, it seems like, and they are in the deep red, so they're inside the 10-yard line here. And this is, I think this is probably the third group, potentially, second or third group that's in for both teams in the preseason game from this past weekend. Now, we're going to go ahead and start this video, and I'm going to be breaking it down pretty extensively here because there's a lot of things that I really wanted to take a look at and talk to you guys about, because even though this is a terrible job that's done by Tebow, there's a lot going on here that maybe people don't necessarily know about when it comes to, the anatomy of a play. And there's some things that I'll get to. We'll start it up right now, but I'll get to these things here in a moment once we get deeper into the breakdown. But to start it off, and I've got this running a little bit slower than normal for this breakdown, just so we can get all our talking points in here. Now, we're going to focus on the right side of the line here because this is where everything happens. And first off, for me, when I look at this, from the things that I know about being in these situations, my first coaching point to Tebow in this, and as you see, Tebow's 85 right here over the defensive end. I look at this, and my first thing that I want to say is splits. Splits are important in football. Splits are important, especially when you're in the red zone, when you're in short yardage situations. Now, generally, you're going to look at splits as, and many people probably don't know this, but the average split on a regular play, and splits change depending on the play. They change, and they're not always the same. So all splits are not created equal. And now in this case, I look at this situation here. We've got an over front, so the strength of the offense is on the right. This is the strength of the offense here. And you've got your three techniques shaded to that side. So that is the strength of the defense. They're playing over, so they're matching strength for strength. And in this, my first critique here is if I'm Tebow, and this is, obviously coming from somebody who has been a blocker his entire football career, except for high school. But one thing that you have to be aware of when you are getting into these situations is what is the concept of the play? Where are we trying to attack as an offense? And in this situation, this is a dive play. This is a play that's going down the A gap. This is a short yardage situation. So there's not going to be a lot of movement by the running back. He's going to take one quick drop step and move forward. He's going straight up and down. On this, I'm looking at Tebow and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so you're going to be matched up on the defensive end to the strong side. This is going to be a tough block for any tight end in any normal circumstance in the game. But you have control over a couple of things here that you definitely need to make sure you pay attention to as you get to the line of scrimmage. This defensive end is going to line up wherever your line. He has a gap. So he is playing on this outside gap here. That is his responsibility. If I'm Tebow and I know that these guys here are double teaming, I'm going to open this split, probably a good foot, to move him out just a little bit more. because you're not getting any help here. And your goal and your objective is to keep him from taking this gap on any kind of stunt. And you want to drive him on an angle away from the middle of the line. You want to drive him towards the goal line on about a 45, 20, maybe a 35-degree angle. You want to get him moving. Nobody expects you to drive this guy 5 yards, but that should be your objective. That way, when you do come off the ball and you make contact and you initiate your block, you're fighting to drive him 5. You may only drive him 1 or 2, but you want to keep him separated from this gap. You want to keep your body in between him and this area where the running back is going to be, looking for a space to run into. So that would be my first critique there. Widen your split a little bit. Give yourself a chance to be able to use some space to get him out of the way. Now here with the guard in the center, this is a vertical run. So a vertical run on a 3 technique here, you're going to have a double team. This is going to be something that is going to really, for me, looking at this play, it's kind of weird how these guys, and again, these aren't starters, but it's weird to me how they had this called based on where the defenders are in this. So we'll go in the first couple steps. Now, as you look on this double team, this is not a good double team. Looking at it here, right now, your tackle is leaning. His legs are behind him. As a double team goes, you want to connect at the hip. Between the guard and the tackle, you want to connect at the hip. So that means you have to take a lateral step. You have to get your second foot in the ground. So it's got to be a quick 2 steps to get yourself over a little bit and stay square to move vertical off that second step up the field. Same thing here with the guard. I think the guard drop steps. He does a bad job here, and he opens up that foot, which is completely, against the principles of running a double team block. You want to, again, take one, because you're the inside guard and you have a 3 technique, you want to take a small step, just a small lateral step. If we run it back a little bit, you can see that's a zone step that you're taking right there. That's a zone step. That's not the kind of step you want to take when you are trying to perform a double team block. You want to literally take one lateral step with your toe still pointed up the field, bring your second step quick, and that second step is up the field. So you're balanced, you have strength, you want to make contact on that second step. You're going to have your base underneath you. It's going to be a straight base. You're not going to be spread out at the legs. Same thing here with the tackle. And you guys are going to basically be connected at the hip, moving vertically to block this guy. You're working against each other when one guy is leaning and the other guy is leaning. And that's what we have here. His foot's off the ground. Now, he should have eyes for this linebacker because this is a play that splits the defense in half. These two over here, the left guard and the center, should have basically the same technique as this side does, but it's obviously going to be a little bit more of an angle for this guard, not this much, but just a tad bit more, so that you can get connected with the center. He's going to come in to put some mustard on that. Probably end up putting this guy on the guard as he moves up to this linebacker here, but based on what they showed in this clip, it seems to me like they had the linebackers flipped and how they wanted to block this. And it didn't make sense to me because it really goes against the matchups that you want to have for blocking down in the red zone. So this guard here is going to have should have his eyes for this linebacker who will flow over the top because he sees this. This is a downhill movement by the running back. Like I said before, he's going straight downhill. So you have to be ready for that, and you have to definitely be moving this guy off the ball so that you can come off vertically and overtake this linebacker if he shoots into this gap. If he shoots back this way, then the tackle would come off and pick him up in the same fashion. Now, if you're looking at this, they're both leaning. So if this guy decides to shoot this gap, it's going to be too difficult for him to adjust his body and get in a position to make that block. but let's keep looking at the way that this plays out. Again, like I said, this is a play that is designed based on my knowledge of the game to cut the defense in half and give the running back a single downhill route to pick up either the first down or to get across the goal line. And it's weird. I have a question about whether or not strategically these guys knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Now, with Tebow's situation here is that he understepped on his first step, which meant he dropped this foot back, which puts you out of whack because you should be making your first step with this leg. And that, again, should be the same as these guys. A short step laterally with your toes pointed up the field and your hands inside underneath. The three pillars of run blocking are eyes up, hands inside, feet underneath. You want to have your feet underneath you. You want to have your hands inside your frame so that you can shoot them out inside of the defender's frame. That's where the battle of leverage starts. You want to have your eyes up so you can see what you're blocking, because you got to be able to see what you block or you're not going to block. You will block where your eyes tell you to block. And in Tebow's situation here, that drop step hurts him initially because now he's behind on getting to where he needs to be in his run blocking. So with that, he doesn't really have a good base. He doesn't look like he's comfortable with his feet on the ground. There's a lot of bouncing from his feet. So here, because now his eyes are down, this guy has the awareness enough to feint inside and then club over the top of him. Still defending his gap. He's still in his gap. Tebow is off of his feet. And as you see us go through this, he's on his toes, and it's just not something that's going to work when you're trying to block a guy. You have to know where you want to take him, so you got to know how you take him there. When it comes to your technique and your footwork, is where everything starts. That's where you get all the power that you're going to use in your block comes from having your feet in the ground. He doesn't have that here. Now the running back gets the ball, and running backs are taught to run away from color. So when he gets the ball here, his vision is looking here. He sees color. These guys don't have a solid double team. They're not actually connected and moving this guy off the ball. They're going to get split. So his vision will then take him over here where he sees a gap, but you have your tight end who is already beat. He's got his eyes down. He's got his hands out wild to the side. He's off of his feet. And this defensive end is in perfect position. He's already turned his hips. He's already clubbed them. His eyes are looking directly at the ball. He is on a destruction course with the ball. And you'll see here, it's as simple as that with him clubbing over the top, and now the running back is dead in the water. The running back is dead in the water. Now, another reason why I think strategically, I'm not really sure what this play, how they designed this play to go up against any defensive front in the red zone when you have two receivers who are out here on the side flanking the tight end, and your assignment for one of the receivers is to pick up the linebacker. To me, that doesn't make any sense. That's not even a matchup. He's going to get destroyed. He's not going to get this guy cut out of this area at wide receiver. That's what these guys, your right guard and your right tackle, that's where they should be doubling up the field to him, because he is going to come to them. No homo. And it looks to me, as I watch this, that these two were double teaming to this guy. So it's either a mental error, which there's a chance of that. These are young guys. They don't necessarily know what they're doing on the field. And these guys are going to this front side guy, which would put your front side guard and center on a safety, which doesn't make sense. That's not a sound strategy in football. That's not a sound matchup. Now, back to this. With our running back and him being shut out by this defensive end who got past Tim Tebow pretty easily, almost pretty much instantly. You see here, now he's stuck. He's dead. This guy just has to make the tackle. He doesn't even have to make the tackle. But other than that, the linebacker who was over the guard and center, now he is played over the top, and he's going to come free to make a hit. And that's where I look at this and I'm wondering, what did they think Cleveland was going to come out in, and how did they make this call to send your lineman to the wrong two individuals, to these two guys, and leaving a receiver matched up on a linebacker, which that's a bad matchup, from top to bottom. That's not where you'll rarely see offenses put receivers in positions like this in the red zone of all places where they have to dig out a linebacker. That is counterproductive for them to be able to have success during any play. And with this, the running back is dead in the water. He's got people coming from both sides, and the only thing he can do is take this ass whooping because they're going to be all over him just like they were there. And, I mean, come on. Look, Timmy, you missed the block. There is no point in doing this. I mean, why jump on the pile? I mean, what is that doing? You've already missed everything. It's all done. The receiver here, same thing. These guys were in bad positions. This should not be the play you run. Or if you're going to run this play, then you definitely have to have the strengths of your offense going against their strengths, which I would say is putting your offensive linemen on the backers as part of their double team assignment. And that it makes no sense to me in just the way that this play is designed and how they're blocking it. It's not going to work against anybody because you have receivers taking on things that they shouldn't be taking on. And your linemen are going to the wrong guys. These two linemen should be going to that backer, and these two linemen should be going to that backer. That way this guy comes off. He's too high. His defender has been under him the entire play. So he comes off, and he actually is able to cover this guy up, which gives your running back a chance. I mean, even if, well, no, not really, still, because Tebow didn't get it done when it came to picking up this block. So that is what destroys the run play. Penetration will always destroy a run play because there is no way and nowhere for the running back to make something happen. So that is, why this play looks as bad as it looks. And yes, this is worse than what he did in the previous play that we saw that I did a video on for Tim Tebow. That's really bad right there on everybody for the most part. The running back had no chance from the very beginning, and that is